Welcome to the Leasing Highway this fine Tuesday. This podcast is focused on the heartbeat of the apartment industry, as you probably know now. And I'm Karen Gladney.
And I'm Ian Andrews, and today we are joined by Joe Melton, who is the Vice President of Marketing for Morgan Group. So, Joe, we're super excited to have you on here, and I'll pass it over to you to share a little bit about yourself with everyone here.
Oh, Joe, awesome. I just have to tell you, I'm so excited. I'm so excited. We're going to have so much fun.
I am too. I just had a moment. I was dancing to music, and I was like, can they see me? So, so you saw me dancing, no charge. But anyway, my name is Joe Melton. I am the VP of Marketing and Management Support Services for the Morgan Group. We're based out of Houston, Texas. I've been in the business for just over 22 years and celebrating 7 years with Morgan at the end of June. So really happy to be here. Thanks for asking me.
Yeah. Awesome. That's a good amount of time too. It's so nice to talk with people who've been with their companies for 5+ years and just have some of that history.
Absolutely.
So one thing that we wanted to kick it off with asking you is, we've talked to a few different people who are in your position, and I'm curious with your background, what's something that gives you a little different perspective from other people in your role in the industry?
Yeah, it's so funny. I remember we were talking about putting this together. I thought about that because it maybe helps to kind of tell you where I came from. I, like many people, fell into a leasing role many years ago. But before that, I was, a starving artist, a musical theater major, and kind of in between gigs, somebody had the bright idea that I should be a leasing agent because I had a good personality. I don't know if I should be offended by that very generic kind of referral, but I mean, it is what it is, right? And so I think what is different as a perspective is I was really used to working quickly, rehearsing for shows with large cast or teams, and sometimes those change very rapidly and you transition really quickly. And so I think I was really adapt very young and programmed to embracing change, working with different teams, sometimes teams that changed very quickly. And because I was used to that, I think that's a part of the business that sometimes can shake people, right? If they kind of get in their groove with the team and then someone gets promoted to go somewhere else or you get an opportunity, sometimes it moves your cheese, right? And I felt like I had that. But what I didn't know was sales. And so it just was from a different point. But really, I think back sometimes and I think about the perspective of kind of always knowing working in groups, and sometimes it might change so quickly, kind of set me up to really embrace change and kind of go with the flow. And I think that people struggle with that sometimes as they kind of get into business and as they kind of see that happen for themselves.
Oh, for sure. Change is not something, as much as people talk about liking change sometimes and wanting to embrace it, it's not our human nature for sure. And I find it super interesting that both you and Topher come from that theater background. And, our industry always talks about, we need to pull people from the hotel industry. That's and it is, but maybe we're missing the boat here. The people with an additional it factor are the people from the theater industry. And who knew you had so much change that you have to adapt to, and groups too. That's what you mentioned with working with groups certainly impacts what we do on site.
Well, I think that, two thoughts. One, coming from a background where you play so many different roles, and that's what you do. You learn those different roles. In some way, it weirdly translates to kind of what you do is you identify the kind of prospect you're speaking to, where they are in their buying process. Probably not literal, but kind of, right? And then when you mention kind of where you get people from, if you think about kind of e-commerce taking over the past year, and some of our retail jobs going away, going to restaurants that previously are always open to retail outlets and kind of sourcing people, they haven't been available to us.
No.
And you can't really hire your Amazon, email that your order has been placed. So, our pool of people that we get to see to and talk to and engage with has drastically been challenged.
Yeah, yeah, that's for sure. You mentioned Morgan, and we love Morgan, and so excited to have gotten to work with you specifically. When you look at Morgan's growth and successes, I mean, it's really been neat as a bystander to watch y'all's journey. What would you say, and whether it's this year of 2021 or overall, what would you say are some like the biggest wins for Morgan Group overall?
Well, high level, I'd say, we have a great culture, and one our first key value at our company is about people, right? And we're really proud to be, again, on a list of best places to work in the country for a
Oh,
fifth consecutive year.
congratulations.
Thank you. Have been the best place to work in Houston, kind of medium-sized companies a year ago. And so what's great about that is that's peer-driven recognition. So that's people that work for us, with us, our team members, our work family, who are, saying how they feel. It's their personal sentiment about the company they work for. And so that's really a great thing to be part of. And we also were honored with kind of with an award that's most clued in executive leadership. And so that's really great to know that from the top down, people recognize that kind of it's the bigger vision, right?
Yeah.
So I'm really proud of that. I also know that we are really, if I spoke about something currently that was important to us, I won't say the P word because, I'll say it once, pandemic, and that's it. I won't say it again, because we're going to have so much from this past year that serves us as greater efficiencies long after this is over, right? And so, so I don't want to focus on what that is, but what it did give us was a higher level of focus on our teams, on our people, on all of our customers. And so right now, one of the things I'm really proud of is that we have this focus on staying connected, right? So staying connected to all of our customers in very different formats. Who would have thought, this time last year, this is how we would be talking, right? You would have flown into town. We'd meet at one of our amazing communities. We'd grab lunch and we'd have, fellowship, right?
Right.
Not trying to take you to church, but you know what I mean. It's
right.
like we have more of that,
Yeah.
and we have found other ways to meet and see people. And I think lastly, we continue to grow our new business organically. We have great opportunities, and we're excited about the pipeline ahead at the Morgan Group. And it really hasn't slowed down in the past year, right? So
Yeah.
I think that we are well capitalized and wonderful people. That's an amazing thing to be able to say.
Joe, when you talk about people and culture and how in a virtual world, so to speak, what are some of the things, or even one thing that you did that you really felt like helped y'all continue and maybe even be better at connecting? Because when you say we would have gotten together, us three, yeah, absolutely, have a cocktail. But I think about, on visiting the teams on site is one of the coolest ways to show recognition, and even just leaving a thank you card for them that's a handwritten note. And I guess you could mail that today, but what did y'all do to help bridge that connection?
So, I think of a couple of things that we did. We had a moment back in early summer where we knew the teams were just, in every capacity, just working as hard as they could. They were working in 50% capacity so that we could keep our offices open. They were, changing the protocol and plan of action hourly, if not every day. There was a time when every decision didn't have shelf life. We got to a point where we would make a decision and that would be something like, great, this is going to serve us for the next couple of 2-3 weeks until we know what's next, right? But that wasn't the case for a very long time. And so, the non-controllable can really take a toll on your ability to lead a team and to be a team member, right?
Yeah.
So we did have a day in early summer where we closed our communities and we gave everybody a day of rest. To just, nothing's more, valuable than time, right? Unless it's lots of money, but that's a different conversation, right? But time, right? And knowing that people just had an opportunity to just be with their family and whomever they could, even if it wasn't in person because it wasn't safe to do so. And then also, video became very powerful, both in how we did business to our prospective residents and how we did business internally to our internal customer. I remember our CEO, Philip Morgan, sent out a video just kind of visually touching base with all the people out there, our essential workers who were our most important assets at the time, and his kind of people over profit approach was really incredible. But I remember him sending me his video, and he had his young daughter Lucy Chase on his lap, and she took the opportunity on camera to lift her shirt up and show her belly, and he was like, "Ooh, didn't think she was going to do that. Let me know if I need to re-video that." I was like, "No, that's exactly what people want to see. They want to see the transparency and that there are real people solving real problems."
Right.
And so I was really grateful to see us kind of help each other, but just sometimes, the hardest thing to do sometimes is to just be quiet and listen. And I found ourselves being quiet and listening a lot more. And boy, did it serve us well. It was great.
Yeah, I think looking at, a lot of just, your background in that change management and going through a period like this, that you guys are, really well suited. You could tell that your leadership too had that ability to relate with your on-site teams in a way that, you guys understood what they were going through and had that connection through that whole period, which is really, awesome. I'm really curious here. We're going to end up going to commercial in a minute here too, but you've talked about the connection and that and some of those pieces that you really felt excited about taking with you through that pandemic, and curious of anything else like for the next coming years, what pieces that you would pull out and that you're excited about for the rest of 2021. But let's go to our quick commercial here, and then we'll come back on the other side.
Awesome.
Welcome to your beautiful new apartment home here at Gables Point 14. As you can see, we're featuring this beautiful one-bedroom den.
Welcome to the Get Focused podcast, a show with stimulating conversation about optimizing our human potential for those who think outside of the box. You'll hear thought-provoking conversation designed to help you blow past your obstacles and create strength and motivation in everything you do. Now, it's time to start thinking outside of the box. It's time to get focused.
Awesome. Welcome back, everyone. So, Joe, I was just curious, is there anything else that you're really excited about for the rest of 2021 and what's the year to come?
Yeah, I was telling you guys that I just recently went to my first in-person conference last week, TAA, and got some real tight hugs, long hugs. But it was great, and I think that we're all we are continuing to take these lessons over the past year and kind of this downtime and apply that towards future business, right? And so to continue to capitalize on these great efficiencies that have come out of this break, right? This pause is amazing. I think that we've learned so much about what we can do, and some of that fear of trying or that anxiety around are we ready just flew out the window. I think we've talked, the three of us, much about kind of the self-guided tour platforms and all that's out there, and the idea that everybody was just kind of waiting Is your toe in the water? Are you jumping in? And like around March 13th last year, we all got pushed in the pool, right? and just good luck, and we hope you can swim. And so I think we were forced to embrace what we always could do, and now I'm so excited to just capitalize on these new efficiencies and kind of new ways of doing things. And we see great employees that are just, even our bench strength just shot up an extra notch. I know for our company, we think that way, and we're so proud of that.
That's a great way to look at that. And Joe, that I am a hugger. So I am excited to get back to hugging. Although I will say, hearing you say some people were some really tight huggers, I'm feeling a little self-conscious about my hug, even though I didn't get to hug you last week. So, well, we use the word learning moments and everything. And to your point, this isn't specifically to the P word, but over your career, look, we all have them, right? We all have learning moments. And what are some of the learning moments you've had over your career, even back in theater, that you bring now to your teams that have stuck with you and will make a difference for them?
Yeah, I was always conditioned to value, practicing and preparing, right? That was always something I valued and I knew, I think. But I've told this story many times that, there was a time in my multifamily property management career where I lost my way. I didn't value training and continued education. I didn't seek out to learn and appreciate mentors and resources that were available to me. That was not on my list of what I thought made me successful. And, and I think fast forward, I think about that as a learning moment, and something that I try every day to tell people is to learn every day and to ask questions, raise your hand if you're able to help. And sometimes pay is not involved. It's a thank you. It's an appreciation for your time. It's an opportunity. I'm grateful that I have the opportunity now, but I also think, what if I had learned that sooner, right? I got lucky, I'll say that, but there was a time when I had a deep, I wasn't appreciative of all the resources and opportunities available to me, right? And so if there's a property manager listening now, it's like, oh, if I have to send one more person to training, like as if I have 20 people on staff to do this, right? Do they not know my budget is 1.5 people? Who hires half a person, right? And so I get that, but find time to educate yourself, surround yourself with people that you work with who are in many ways much smarter than you. And that should not be by accident, right? That's the team I work with, that's all of them in their own special way. So.
Yeah, no, that's great advice. And something that, I think all of us wish we really hung on to earlier on. It's such a big difference. Just the little things make such a huge impact. And jumping on to our next question here, I'm excited to ask you this one because you really do have that inventor's mind. You're always on the forefront of thinking of what's next and how do you keep Morgan Group and on the cutting edge, bleeding edge of what's going on, and curious if what would you invent if you could, really, knowing everything that's out there today?
I've got 2 answers. The first one's just because I'm hungry already for lunch. So if there was a way to have good Tex-Mex delivered at 11:45 every day, that'd be amazing. Somebody go and figure that out. But you know what? It's such a funny question because, like, wouldn't it be great if we could turn a person's thoughts into a hot lead? Like, wouldn't that be wonderful? Because, prospects are liars. They don't tell the truth. They're afraid they're not going to get the best deal. They're not going to see the best thing. So they're always going to, well, how much are you willing to spend? I don't know. What you got? And so it's this ping pong of discovery to get to what people really need sometimes. And that can be so challenging. And wouldn't you just like to hear someone's thoughts of what they're really thinking? Maybe. And that be your hot lead? I mean, all day long. Wouldn't our conversion, our closing ratio like skyrocket? Like if we got the truth right away? I know it sounds simple, but
no, it's true, Joe. We could help them so much quicker.
But, I mean, we could save some time, some follow-up, and some good brain damage if we just knew what they were thinking, really thinking. So somebody needs to create a website or something called, what I'm thinking, hotlead.com or whatever. I don't know.
Hotlead.com. I like it. Joe, you said you're lucky, which I know how hard you work, and I do know how much you feed your mind with education too. I mean, you've heard several things just today in this podcast, from bench strength to, I know you're well read. So, but what are some of the things you attribute your success to? And I know that seems like a cliche question, but again, it's just so important to be able to learn from people who have done so well, like yourself, and people look up to.
Yeah, I think, it's really simple, and it's surrounding yourself around, great mentors, working really hard, and I work hard because I really love my job. I love what I do. I love this company, but I've loved a lot of my jobs. I think it makes me think that, kind of back to when I wish I had learned a little bit sooner, what I appreciate so much today is, I encourage anyone in the industry to figure out sooner than later that multifamily, the apartment industry, what we do every day is really a career. It's not just a job. And we how many times have we all heard the story is, I started as a leasing agent. I never thought I'd be here. And then 22 years later, here I am. I mean, everybody's heard that story at some point from various positions in companies, right? So, really loving what you do, working hard, knowing that this is absolutely a career. And I say all the time, we're not selling something that's the hottest trend and is going out of style, right? It's like, I don't think, and I don't think tomorrow it would be uncool or not popular to have a place to live, So we're selling something that people have a need for. Yeah. And the great thing is our industry serves every need, and I'm not just talking about class of apartments, but location, right? And why you might move there. One of the things that we're really proud of at the Morgan Group is kind of our tagline is live well. And it's super broad, because we want it to resonate with each person, what that means to them. What does live well mean to them? How do you live well by living in one of our communities? So, I think a lot of my success is really truly loving what I do, working hard, and great mentorship.
That's what they always tell us, do what you love and the rest will fall into place. Well, let's cut to a quick, our last break, and then we'll come back. You sure can hear your heart, Joe. So thank you for sharing it with us. And we'll come back for our last segment in just a minute.
Introducing Remote Lock Universal Access Control. Remote Lock lets you manage any lock, from smart locks to hardwired access control systems, securing every door from the main entrance to the rooftop patio. And you get to choose from the best top-of-the-line smart locks out there, from brands like Yale, Schlage, Kwikset, August, Mercury, and many more. Now you can configure and add access at the push of a button, and set up customized schedules for each and every user, all within a matter of minutes. It even works with property management and booking software like Airbnb, Guesty, Entrata, RealPage, and more. With Remote Lock, you'll finally have a future-proof solution that controls all your properties around the world from a single, easy-to-use platform. Let Remote Lock be the last access control partner you'll ever need.
Welcome back, everyone. Joe, you were talking there right before the break. One thing I was thinking of is just, it's so funny how everyone gets in as a leasing agent into this industry and in some position. I think why people stay in this industry so much or so long really is mostly because you realize that it's not just, we're leasing a box. There's so many different aspects to this industry and so many different aspects to what goes into making that live well experience that you guys focus on. And I think there's from, really seeing that as a career, like you were mentioning, is such a key point, because there's so many different ways to make people happy and to, have that fulfillment from being in this industry. And one question I wanted to throw over to you here is if you weren't in this industry, where do you think you would be? So if you weren't in the apartment industry, what would you be?
Sounds like you'd be on the big screen.
Well,
that's true.
So one, I just saw a beer commercial. Two, it's a daytime show. But I'll probably something, I don't know. I mean, like the obvious, like in the entertainment field, but like I feel like I'd love to host like a talk show, or I think I've always felt so trapped when I wasn't able to use my creative side, right? And that's when I feel most trapped, when I'm not thinking creatively. It's so funny when a coworker and I were able to safely visit sites again, and we were looking at things. We had this moment where like, oh my gosh, I'm using this side of my brain I haven't used in so long, and we just had this moment, right? But embracing opportunities to celebrate life and just everything that it has to offer. I think that, that's what drives me to kind of want to speak to people and help them find how they create value, right? So to answer your question, I'm sure I'd be doing something, in the entertainment field. I don't know. Who knows?
We'd be asking for your autograph just like we are now,
Yeah, there's no charge for that at this point, but I reserve the right to change my mind.
I feel like we've had therapy with Joe today. It's like apartment therapy. All this, it's just been gushing with advice. So
I think we need beer and Tex-Mex though.
Yeah. This one isn't an advice-driven question, but something we had asked somebody else before too. But what is something fun and interesting or unique about you that your work colleagues just might not know? Something tells me they probably know it all, but
yeah, I'm not sure there's something they don't know. I'm pretty transparent, and I would say part of, back to the question you asked earlier, Ian, about success, is when I finally just allowed that to be what it is, right? Just to be your true, authentic self and let people really celebrate all the things that you had to offer. I think this is one of the things that's so at the top of people's list nowadays, is just making sure that they have a diverse and inclusive work environment where everybody gets to work at their highest potential, and not as one, but as a group, you elevate, your company. Yep. And you start to attract the best talent. And so I love that. But, to answer your question, I think I'm people may not know I'm a little superstitious. I think I have a little OCD. I say CDO because that's OCD in alphabetical order. But I get nervous. I rehearse and I give myself pep talks, and I like to prepare. I surprise myself sometimes by what people would say is quick wit. I don't know where it comes from.
You do. It is incredible.
I don't. And sometimes I'm scared that, what lands here gets out here before I have time to put the diaper on the baby. But I do. I try to prepare because I think that's something I've never stopped doing, because I've always gotten nervous about opportunity. But I think that's what keeps it fresh. I think if you're not nervous, then you don't care. So
yeah.
But if people on my team are watching right now, doesn't mean I'm scared of you or you should be scared of me. Don't take it the wrong way. But I just, it's just like I want to get things right. It's important.
Yeah.
And I'm hard on that process.
Do you do the superhero pose, in the mirror?
I can't tell you all my secrets. I will say the bed sheet in the hotel probably isn't on the bed before I leave.
Your cape. I can't believe that you turned that question too into advice, by the way, and telling people to be themselves. I'm reading a book by Allie Worthington right now, and that was this week's thing to say, be yourself. So anyway, you're incredible.
I can't believe I'm going to share this, but I will. So I take a before and after picture of myself when I'm getting ready, like if I'm presenting or like I'm at a conference or I'm somewhere. I always do like a before and after picture for myself. I share it internally for my friends to make fun of. I don't know why. I guess I'm expecting like this transformation, like, I don't know. But I do that. I don't know. It's just part of the process.
Did you take one today?
Not today. I didn't. So I normally do. Not today. I had dogs and other
have to take a post picture. A
selfie. Yeah. I do like selfies.
So I know we're wrapping up on time here and wanted to get to this question, although most of this podcast has been packed full of advice. So going to be pretty difficult just to narrow it down to one piece here. But really for our walk-off question here, what advice would you give to someone just starting out in this industry?
Yeah, I think back to what I just said, consider being very fortunate that you're part of this industry and take it seriously. It is a career. I think that, let your work be your resume. Everybody probably has one of those, but I think your work is your resume. And, what do you stand for? What is your personal brand? There's an old, when I said that, I thought about this old, very cliche statement that says, be yourself. Everyone else is already taken. It's very cliche, I know, but it's, I recognize that, being me, being creative, being honest, has never really kept me from getting what I've gotten. I learned that, down the road. I wish I'd learned it sooner. But, what do you stand for at the end of the day? What is your personal brand and how does that fit into, the puzzle of the other people on your team, right? Yeah. And so, it's pretty important. But, man, work is serious business. It is. And you got to love what you do.
Yeah, have fun with it. You've been fun, Joe. Oh, my gosh. I'm not kidding. I feel like we've all gone through therapy. So thank you for being on with us and sharing your heart and your passion and all of it today. It's really been an honor.
Awesome. Well, do I have time to ask you a question?
Sure. we aren't on network TV, so
let me turn the table real quick. So I think it would be interesting, because I know you guys, for each of you to tell me what's one thing that I'd be surprised to know about you that's not on your resume.
I can go. I've shared it a couple times now because it is one of my favorite questions. So then, of course, it gets flipped back around. But I want to see a football game from every stadium in the country. Now, last week that was kind of last year that was hampered. I had 3, even London, but was on the plate. But I've been to 23 stadiums.
So note to self for all your clients out there: take you to a stadium. Yeah. Help check off things off your bucket list. What about you, Ian?
For me, let's see here. I'd say one thing that I love to do, and my friends definitely know this about me, and really my wife and our family. We love to travel, and so for us, it's really trying to get to as many countries around the world as we can, and really take in different cultures. And now that I have a new baby girl that's a year old, being able to take her with us and travel around. So the pandemic's a little prohibitive of that, but excited to be able to start traveling and see the world again.
Awesome. Well, thank you for asking me to join you today. It's been fun.
It's been a great. And for everybody next week, we'll be joined by Andrea Puckett, asset manager for Forum Investment Group, and we are thrilled. So thank you so much, everybody. Thank you, Joe, and we'll see you next week. Bye.
Bye, guys. Thanks so much.
Bye.